Imagine stumbling upon a box, an old dusty and seemingly ordinary box, but within it hides a terrifying secret. Now let's take a moment and transport ourselves into the heart of a small, quiet town. A place where time seems to have stopped, and where the extraordinary is often cloaked in the ordinary. This is where our tale unfolds. In this town we find our protagonist, a curious teenager by the name of Sam. Sam, like any other teenager, is always on the hunt for something new, something fascinating. Little did he know, he was about to unearth something far more than he bargained for. On a lazy Saturday afternoon, Sam finds himself rummaging through his grandmother's attic. Amidst the cobwebs and forgotten relics of the past, his eyes fall upon an old, dusty box. The box, nondescript and seemingly ordinary, was far from it. It was heavy with age, its corners worn, and it held an aura of secrecy that immediately piqued Sam's curiosity. Opening the box, Sam's world was about to change. Inside, he found an assortment of strange, unsettling trinkets. Each piece, more peculiar than the last, seemed to hold a story of its own. A vintage locket with a faded picture, a set of oddly shaped keys, a dried-up four-leaf clover, and an antique doll with one eye missing, all resting under a layer of dust and time. Nestled amongst these trinkets was a mysterious old journal, its pages yellowed and brittle. The journal was filled with cryptic writings and illustrations that sent a shiver down Sam's spine. The more he read, the more his heart pounded in his chest, the eerie feeling of being watched creeping upon him. Sam had stumbled upon a trove of the bizarre and the unknown. His curiosity, now mixed with a sense of unease, left him questioning the origins of these objects and the secrets they held. But little did Sam know, he had just opened Pandora's box. The journal, worn and faded, bore entries that were anything but ordinary. As Sam turned the brittle pages, he found himself drawn into a world steeped in the supernatural. The author, whose name was lost to time, had meticulously documented a series of unnerving events, each one more chilling than the last. The first few entries were innocent enough, detailing strange occurrences that could easily be dismissed as coincidence or imagination. A shadow that seemed to move on its own, a whisper in an empty room, a book that inexplicably fell from a shelf. But as Sam delved further into the journal, the events took on a more sinister tone. The author wrote about waking up to find objects displaced, as if someone or something had been rummaging around. They described doors slamming shut, lights flickering, and a cold chill that seemed to permeate the house. As Sam continued to read, he found himself engrossed in this tale of the inexplicable and the supernatural. The author wrote with such vivid detail that it was as if he was there, experiencing the same creeping dread and mounting terror. The entries became progressively scarier, each one hinting at a presence that was growing bolder and more malevolent. The author spoke of a feeling of being watched, of a shadowy figure that seemed to lurk in the corners of their vision. And then, the entries took a truly terrifying turn. The author began to write about a malevolent entity, a being that seemed to feed off fear and chaos. They detailed encounters with this entity, each one more terrifying than the last, culminating in a stark warning to anyone who found the journal. "The entity is real," the author wrote. "It feeds off fear. It grows stronger with each passing day. If you're reading this, it's too late. It knows you're here." The final entry ends abruptly, leaving a chilling question: what happened to the author? As Sam delved deeper into the journal, he began to notice something was terribly amiss. Our protagonist, Sam, found himself on a chilling journey, his reality starting to reflect the supernatural events recorded in the journal. The atmosphere around him shifted as though the air itself had become a living, breathing entity. It was as if the veil between our world and the one described in the journal had thinned, and Sam was caught in the crossfire. Whispers began to echo around him, soft and subtle at first, then growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to emanate from the walls, the floor, the very air he breathed. A cacophony of voices speaking in hushed, urgent tones, their words indiscernible, yet their intent unmistakably ominous. Shadowy figures began to flit in and out of his peripheral vision, wisps of darkness that twisted and curled, taking on vaguely human shapes before disappearing as quickly as they came. They were always just out of sight, yet their presence was undeniable, an oppressive weight that bore down on Sam's psyche. Then came the physical manifestations. Objects around him started to move of their own accord, a book sliding off a table, a chair scraping across the floor, a door creaking open when no one was there. The once familiar surroundings of his home were transforming into a nightmarish landscape. Sam could feel his terror mounting, his heart hammering in his chest like a trapped bird. He was convinced he had awakened something, some malevolent entity from the journal. This was no ordinary haunting. This was a nefarious presence that didn't just linger in the shadows but seemed to feed off his fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. As the whispers grew louder, the shadows darker, and the unseen force more insistent, Sam could feel his grasp on reality slipping. He was living a horror story, one that had been etched in the pages of the journal he now wished he'd never found. Fear gnaws at Sam's sanity, the once quiet house now a den of unseen horrors. Driven by fear and desperation, Sam decides to fight back. As if caught in the throes of a fever dream, Sam dives headfirst into the haunting journal's cryptic passages. The once nonsensical scribbles start to take form as he deciphers the codes, revealing a blueprint for banishing the nefarious presence that has taken hold of his life. His home, once a haven of warmth and comfort, now transforms into a battleground. The walls echo with the rhythmic cadence of his chants, each syllable uttered with a fervor born out of desperation. The air thickens with the scent of burning sage as he performs rituals, guided by the journal's instructions. His voice, though shaky at first, grows more confident with each passing moment. But it is not enough to simply banish. Sam knows he must also understand, and to understand he must communicate. He attempts to commune with the entity, to reach out into the void and make contact. He offers placations, promises, anything that may soothe the entity's wrath. His words hang heavy in the air, filled with a desperation that transcends the human realm. Every creak, every whisper of the wind, every flicker of the lights sends Sam's heart into his throat. He waits for a sign, any sign that his efforts are not in vain. But the house remains eerily silent, the entity seemingly unperturbed by his attempts. His desperation mounts with each passing second. He can't help but question if he's doing enough, if he's doing it right. Are the rituals effective? Are his chants powerful enough? Is he too late? Doubt gnaws at him, threatening to consume him whole. As he sinks to his knees, exhaustion washing over him, he can't help but wonder if he's merely poking the beast, stoking its fury instead of quelling it. But he pushes the thought aside, clinging to the feeble hope that he can reclaim his life from this malevolent force. But would his efforts bear fruit, or had he simply enraged the entity further? Only time would tell. In the dead of the night, Sam prepared for the final face-off. The atmosphere was thick with tension, as though the very air itself was holding its breath, waiting for the showdown. Sam, a mere mortal, was about to confront a sinister entity from beyond our realm. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum, echoing the intensity of the moment. He was the embodiment of determination, his resolve as solid as the ground beneath his feet. He was armed not with weapons but with courage, and the will to reclaim his peace. As the confrontation began, the air was filled with the sounds of struggle. Each gasp for breath, every grunt of effort, was a testament to Sam's relentless fight. The entity fought back, its shrieks echoing in the darkness, a symphony of desperation and defiance. The tension rose, reaching its crescendo, then silence. The silence was deafening, a startling contrast to the cacophony that had just ensued. It was as if the world had paused, waiting with bated breath for the outcome of this epic battle. Then, out of the silence emerged a sound, a soft, weary sigh. It was Sam. He had done it. Against all odds, Sam had emerged victorious. His battle with the entity was over, the nefarious presence banished back to where it came from. He was exhausted, his body aching from the struggle, but his spirit was indomitable. He had faced his fear, confronted the unknown, and emerged stronger than ever. But victory came with a price. The experience had left an indelible mark on Sam. He was free, yes, but he was changed. The innocent curiosity that had led him to the entity was replaced by a newfound respect for the unknown. Sam was free, but he would never forget the terror he had faced. He had walked through the valley of shadows, fought his demons, and came out the other side. He was a survivor, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, forever marked by the terror and the triumph of that fateful night.